we in-house has been advocating and using these technologies, and we have saved to the tune of $23 million over the last 5 years. That's a huge savings for us. So what's happening? I mean, there are different talks, there are different adoption mechanisms. So people are still trying to believe with a cautious approach, shall we do it or not? What shall we do? What should be deployed in a cloud environment? There are people who are testing with less strategic applications. I mean, even if, so that in the event, they don't succeed at this point in time, they fail. So it's a very, very cautious approach. And there are advocates who are still jumping onto the private cloud. AMC has done it. So before we start talking about advocating private clouds to the users, we have deployed it ourselves and have experienced all the benefits that we talked about. So that's how it is. So as a technology player in the area of cloud computing, our objective is to reduce the barriers for adoption of cloud computing. How do we do that? So what has happened is that we, as a leader in the space of information infrastructure like storage, has collaborated with the leaders of virtualization technology, VMware, and the network technologies like Cisco to create a coalition called VCE coalition. And this coalition has floated a company called VCE. It was earlier known as Acadia, and finally it has come to a company called VCE. The objective of the whole thing is to come out with a pre-packaged environment, reduce those barriers. You need not have the challenges of where to get the servers from, you need not have the challenge of where to get the network from, the security from. We have pre-containerized the whole infrastructure so that you have the network, computing, virtualization, storage, the desired security level, the resource management, everything packed together. As a result of which, you just start. You have applications, deploy applications and start working. So the rapid deployment initiatives are very, very easy for you. The cost goes down drastically. You have one person to hold. So it's like a single point of contact for you in a cloud computing environment. And that's what the benefit that we see. The people, we have done it ourselves. We have deployed these infrastructures across the globe with many of our customers. And that's where we see the ability to provision services rapidly improves. It just moves from hours to minutes. It's cost of service infrastructure. I would not like to name any customers, but when we have done due diligence of virtualizing a lot of infrastructure at many customer locations, we have realized that the kind of applications and the service objectives that they're running today, using virtualization, the same can be done with just 25% of the resources. So now you can believe, if you're running a business with 100 servers, and if I'm bold here to say that I can do the same thing with 25 servers, I not only reduce the cost of infrastructure, I significantly reduce the cost of the complexity and the cost of power, cooling, saving real estate that is required to deploy that infrastructure at this point in time. And that's a huge savings altogether. Deployment cost drastically goes down. You optimize, you postpone, you defer your provisioning because of automatic smart provisioning, so you can do that, and the utilization goes up. So with this, I was also reading a white paper that's available online. That's a paper that published about a year back by the CIO of United States government, Vivek Kundra, where they talk about how they're adopting the cloud computing strategy, the power of innovation, right, to ensure that how can the taxpayers' money be effectively utilized altogether. I mean, I remember people talk about security concerns, but then they were talking of case studies, mostly in the area of defense service and security, how they have unleashed the power of cloud computing, to bring value to the citizens, to the rightful audience of those businesses, and at a much lower cost, tremendous flexibility. The reality is that, the challenges are just not limited to this. It's a thought process that need to be adopted to adopt a new initiative. One thing that comes to mind is that, does it mean that we need to throw away what it is and have to come out with absolutely something new? Does it mean that investment, whatever you have done, goes waste? No. We have advisory services at EMS who suggest organizations in telling them that how can they start the journey to the private cloud? How can they consolidate the infrastructure first? How can they ensure that they try with and experiment with applications that are not very, very business sensitive? For example, maybe test and development, for example, for you. And then once they get confident, you can start deploying additional applications, so that you unleash the power of cloud computing with them. So with this, I thought my time is over, and I'm looking forward to your feedback in terms of what do you think we can do with this new wave, the wave of cloud computing. Every wave that you have seen in the past had a leader. When the mainframes came, these were the organizations like Burroughs, Univac, Data General. When we had the era of network and PC, you had the Intel, the Microsoft, and many more organizations. This is a new era, the era of cloud computing. You will see new leaders coming up here. So watch out. Watch it for the right space.